veins, I've been driving this train. Years in this lane, there's no stopping this flame. Cause I came to the game and I changed it to play how I like, rearranged it to my own domain. Yeah, I got what it takes, made lots of mistakes, taking shots, skipping breaks, feeling lost, feeling great, popping off, singing straight, never stopped, never changed. All the squad here to play, and I've got something to say, yeah. I work hard each and every day, I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no, I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capped in space. I won't stop till I hear him say,
back. We're live, and happy new year to everyone within the sound of my voice, everyone here on this channel. I want to wish you a happy new year. Hey, where did Sean go? Oh my goodness, here he comes now. I don't know, something's going on with this internet. Beyonce's internet is acting up, guys. And Beehive, don't get angry with me, okay? I'm just joking. But happy new year. Happy 2024. Anybody make any New Year's resolutions? I've been working on my word. I know I'm already behind. I said that I was going with not renewal. That wasn't it. Service. That's my word for this year. So anybody else have a New Year's word that they're going to focus on, guys?
Not a word, but I'm jumping on the weight loss bandwagon. I haven't done that in years.
Okay, that sounds good. Yes. Same here. I've got some pounds that I need to shed too. I'm ashamed to say baby weight. No, not baby weight. I was way past. Those kids are big and grown.
I'm blaming mine on the pandemic. Mine is COVID weight.
You know what, girl? Wait a minute. Where you gonna take my excuse out my mouth? That's what I was about to say.
Yes.
Pandemic. That's what it is. I got them pounds and they haven't dropped off, but this is the year. This is the year right here. What about you, John? We've given our word or our resolution. What is yours?
My word is discipline.
Discipline. All right.
Yeah.
And saying hey to everybody out in the audience. Hey, Colton. Good to see you. Thanks for entering into the chat. If you're out there in them bushes, get out them bushes and say, hey, tell us where you're from. Tell us your New Year's word or resolution, if you will. I appreciate it so much. Thank you for that. Reza, good to see you also. Hey there, Reza. And of course, Sean says, good afternoon, good people. I love it. So we're back. We're back with Married at First Sight. Guys, what did you think of this episode?
It was good. Pretty good.
I thought so. And I'm going to add this one on too. Guys, if you're watching this show, you need to be over on Kimberly Reviews channel on Wednesday afternoon. Kimberly, tell them about your live watch real quick.
Thank you. Yeah, so we watch live Wednesday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern time on my channel, Kimberly Reviews. So you will watch the show however you watch your cable TV shows, and I'll go live. I'll mute while the show is playing so we can focus. But during the commercial breaks, I'll unmute and go through the comments, and we'll talk about what we saw.
All right. That is so true. We got to get Sean to come over and watch with us sometimes too.
Yes, please.
Right.
I know it's late and long, but it's a good time.
It is.
Send me a text as a reminder.
Okay. I will do. I'll send you a text with the link in it. Will do, Sean. Yep. Will do. But we'll go ahead and get started on this particular show. This was Married at First Sight, season 17 in Denver. And we know that it was called Taking It Day by Day, which I believe they took from, was it Emily and Brennan?
Yes, Brennan.
Yeah, and we'll get to that a little bit later, how he's taking everything day by day by day. He is so robotic, guys. What's going on? He is ice cold and robotic. Yes, he is.
Boy.
He's different. But so we'll start with Becca and Austin. And as we're talking about, so Becca and Austin, Becca was as we could see, she was clearly distraught. She was crying, and she was telling us that Austin says that since she's a non-believer, that she's maybe going to hell in the afterlife when she passes or transitions from this world, right? And so she's crying and she's all upset. um I don't know. Like, I'm thinking to myself, if you're agnostic, why does it even matter? Like, you don't believe in nothing, so you're good, right?
Right.
What were your thoughts? Let's start with Kimberly, and then we'll go to Sean. What were your thoughts about her crying uncontrollably?
I agree, and I don't think it was real. I think she was just playing a game. Not sure why they would go that hard now because this has been his belief from the beginning. They were fully aware of this, I believe, immediately after the wedding when they had the conversations. So 24 days in, how is it becoming a problem now? So I think it's just some type of manipulation because her tears dried up
Yeah.
quick. She stopped
Mm,
crying so fast. And I'm with Austin now. Old Pastor Cal is just securing his check. But Pastor Cal said we don't know where nobody goes or if there is a place to go. And I was like, really, Pastor Cal? Now you need to
ooh,
stop.
I'm trying
But
to. Yeah, tell it,
yeah,
tell it. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Kimberly, tell
yeah,
it, because
I
I'm
think he's
done
just
with him.
securing his spot. He's just securing his check, which a lot of people do. They try to come
Mhm.
out and they don't stick true to what they believe. But I believe you have to choose. And if she chooses, to live a life in hell, that's her choice. So no
That's
need to cry about it. Like you said, if she doesn't believe in it, what's
true.
the big deal?
What's the big deal? If you really standing firm on you being agnostic, then I
Right.
think you should stand firm. And it almost seemed like a little bit later on that Austin started saying that he is feeling a little agnostic. I was like, no, the correct
Mm-hmm.
word is you're unsure. Don't let
Yes.
Mm.
the demon in her become the demon in you, because the devil is a liar.
Yeah, and that's how it works though, because somebody can pull you down quicker than you can pull them up. So that's why I wouldn't
Mhm.
even entertain a relationship with someone who didn't believe what I believe.
Mm-mm. Not romantically. Now, I have friends that
Yeah.
are agnostic, and we've talked about that on earlier podcasts with this show. I have friends that are agnostic. I'm sure I probably even had associates and maybe a friend or two that might have been an atheist. That's
Mm-hmm.
their choice, and we can still be friends and we can vibe on whole other things, topics, working out, work, or whatever
Yes.
it is that we have in common. But what we're not going to do, and what I'm not going to allow them to do, is to pull me down to their way of thinking. No,
Mm-hmm.
no, no. And what the only other thing I want to say, but come on, let me get Sean in here, and I'm gonna add something to this. But Sean, what did you think of that? Her crying uncontrollably about being whether there's a heaven or a hell. What were your thoughts?
Well, I agree with Kimberly because I think it was manipulation. Because if you listen to what she said, she was crying that they were not going to be together in the afterlife. They won't be in the same place. I was like, who cares? I mean, we can't make ticket reservations together. It's not,
Right.
it's not like we're going down the same day. And hey, or if I die and then I'll be waiting for you. Hey, I'm waiting for you. Come on up here. It's all right.
Right.
Come down here. So I mean, it's manipulation. But he shows the weakness of his faith if he's going to bend to that. If that's what he grew up believing in and what he believed in, and then to compromise his belief for this, I think it's a bit coddling, maybe compensation for what she is going through as far as her endometrium, her surgery that
That
she
you were
had
saying
for
it
her
right, but her different medical conditions. She has more than
medical
one.
conditions. Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Uh, I have to say, I have to confess, as I was watching someone else's podcast and they said something that really triggered my mind. And I said, you know what? This is a very good point that they made. And that was this, is that maybe Becca is does she it's not that she actually doesn't believe there is a God or there's a heaven or a hell, but what it is that she's angry with God. And she's
Hmm.
angry because she has all these medical conditions and yet she's so young. That to me sounded like a very strong possibility.
Yeah.
Um, that, and
It
even in
is.
grief sometimes, because I'm going to tell you something, as a firm believer in Christ and one who has a relationship, a personal relationship. And that was the thing I was going to say about this man, Austin. I'm wondering, as a believer, what is his personal relationship with the Lord? Because it's one thing to go to church, it's one thing to be a good person and try to follow the commandments as best you can, but without a personal relationship and without the Holy Spirit indwelling you, you're really a babe in Christ. And I think that's what I'm feeling from him. The vibes that I'm getting from him is that he doesn't have a personal, perhaps he doesn't have a personal relationship. And that's a whole nother thing. I ain't trying to, get into religion and be dogmatic about it, but that's just my feeling. But I just didn't understand how she's trying to, it seems like she's now trying to convert him over. And I did not like, because I go back to this, it still stands out in my head, how her friend basically said those Jesus people trying to convert everybody
Mm-hmm.
to their way of thinking. That was a very prejudicial comment, in my opinion. That was very prejudicial. There's nothing wrong with Becca being agnostic, as I've said. But when you try to take someone's faith that says they have a faith, and when you try to convert them over to your non-faith, that's a
Yeah.
problem. That's a problem. That is
Mhm.
manipulation,
It
in
is.
my opinion. So
Now,
about, go ahead. I'm sorry, Kimberly. Go ahead. Kimberly.
Oh yeah, I did want to add too. You see how he ran to her friend who was Catholic and also didn't believe. I was screaming at the TV. I was like, Austin, call your pastor. Don't be calling somebody
Yes.
else who's going to
Yes.
help you feel better about not believing. Where are your people? Your, godparents or parents or
Your
someone that you
pastor.
go to. Yes, I was
I
like,
wouldn't
call
want
your
to.
pastor.
My first order would be, because I have a very strong godmother who is also a
Hmm.
ordained minister. So my first line would be my godmother, my pastor. Unfortunately, my parents, who, my mother was faithful believer and who got me started in my faith. But she's no
Yes,
longer with us. But I would definitely go to some strong believer, and the pastor should be among the strongest in your circle, right?
yes,
So, like, why
yes.
is he going to her friends that are not believers? You're
Right.
right. You are absolutely right. But what do we think about, real quick, and then we're gonna move on from this couple? What did you guys think about what Pastor Cal had to say? He was just, I was like, I was waiting for the earth to just open up and swallow him. I really was. But he got to give an account. Here's what I do know, and what the word, the Holy Bible says, is that if you're a leader and you lead people down the wrong path in the name of
Hmm.
the Lord,
blow your hands.
oh, you got
Hmm.
a special
Blow your
price to
hands.
pay. So I don't know.
Blow your
I
hands.
can't believe that he was doing this on national TV too. At that, he can't even deny it. What did you think, Sean? What did you think of his ministry, if you will? And I got quotations around that.
Well, that's true. I don't know whether he really preaches that on a Sunday or Wednesday, whenever he ministers, or if he really believes that. Because if he does, I mean, if he does not believe that, but he said that, then that is, I mean, in essence, even though you're doing a show, you're still in the opportunity of ministry. So
Mm-hmm.
that would be a level of accountability that he does not want to face. Uh, since we believe that, what have you. And I hate that this lady will be deceived per se, by that piece of advice, just because he
Yeah.
wants a check, wants a check. I
Yeah.
mean, because
Sometimes.
I mean, how are you going to go to heaven being agnostic? How are you going to? I mean, that's just counterproductive. Going to heaven being agnostic.
Well, you know what it is double minded. Every
Yeah,
while
it
I was
is.
watching this, the word that came to my mind is double minded, and confusion is of the devil, not of God.
Yeah.
But the one thing I did that Becca did say that I agree with, and I have to give her credit. She said that she wants, because later on when they were alone after they had talked with Pastor Cal, she was talking to Austin, and she was saying, "Well, I want you to find out from your pastor, whomever you need to talk to, and I want you to come back and talk to me. I want you to make our marriage a priority." Now, I agree with her on that he should be making their marriage a priority, because to me, once he really looks at it clearly and sees it for what it is, he's not going to want to be married to her. Because my other question is, what if they did have children? How in the heck are they going to raise children with two very conflicting viewpoints on religion?
Exactly. That's going
How?
to be
Claire
a
and Cam.
big deal.
How does
Claire
that
and
even
Cam.
work?
Hmm.
Like, how does that even work? But we move forward, though. We move forward. Claire and Cameron, guys. Claire
There you
and
go.
Cameron, they are so funny. Claire is just as cold as Brennan is. She's cold. She's icy cold. She loves to nitpick and quote unquote roast Cam, and it's just a little bit too much. Cam, on the other hand, in my observation, he seems to have an inability to romance her and to let her know that he finds her attractive. Um, and here's my thought that I've been working on for the last couple of weeks. And of course, we were away for a while. Thank you guys for coming back and joining us. And we will continue on for the rest of this season, Lord willing. But here's my thing. Here's my observation about Cam as I go back and I study him, his movements, and his things about him. I'm really firmly becoming convinced that Cameron is neurodivergent, i.e., that he has autism. He has a form of autism and he's high functioning, so he doesn't fit the general profile when we think of people who are autistic and who are nonverbal, not, have no verbal communication. I think that it's very possible that he is may have autism. But in any case, what did you guys think about the scene where they went skiing? What did you think about that, Kimberly?
I liked it. I really like when the couples get out and,
Hmm.
do some kind of date night activity. But it's just like they said, no physical connection. They're just seems like going with the flow, just doing something to, I guess, kind of say that they tried. But in my opinion, they are not trying at all because they would have participated in the 1 month activities and they chose, not to until later on they watched the video or whatever. But I just don't think that they're really giving it the work because of the attraction thing.
Hmm. I agree. I definitely agree with you. And how about you, Sean? What are your thoughts on the skiing outing that the two of them had?
Well, I mean, I think it's space filler, based upon where I perceive that Claire is in the relationship. I think it's just, hey, look, we just need to do something, create some kind of activity, so that we can be on the TV, what have you. So, I don't think Claire's heart is really in it per se, and I think Cam is clueless as to what's going on per se. So that's the
Hmm.
way I see it with them.
Okay. Okay. That's fair. That's a fair statement. That's a fair statement. Um, okay, so we see them later on. Uh Cam decides at the dinner, we're going to talk about this a little bit later with the other couples, but Cam decides that at the dinner with the other couples, the two that are left, that he's going to count down 1, 2, 3, and we're going to say whether or not we stay married or get a divorce. He says divorce and she says separated. What are your thoughts? Since I still got you, what are your thoughts, Sean? And then we'll go over to Kimberly.
I think he just wanted her to confirm what he was saying, so he's just going to check out for real. And I think he's just
Mm-hmm.
holding on, waiting on her to make the first move to say, look, she wants a divorce. And he doesn't want to
Mm-hmm.
be seen as the bad guy. Yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
my thought on it.
Okay, very good. Okay, and Kimberly, your thoughts on it too? Thank you for that.
I think Cameron was not going to say the divorce. To me, it seemed a little delayed. Like he said it after Claire. So when
Mm.
she was like separate, he was like divorce. I think
Yeah.
that he really wanted to keep trying. I really
Okay.
think he
Okay.
would have kept stringing her along because he claims that she keeps pulling him back by doing little stuff. That's what he said when he met with Orion. And so I think that he was just going to use any opportunity. If she acted like she wanted to keep trying, I think he would have just kept playing along with the game just to say, kind of like you said, so he's not the one that ends the relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Now let's talk about that. You just brought up something. That's the last little piece, and then we can move on to the next couple. With Claire and Cameron. Um, Claire met with Lauren, and what did
Mhm.
you get out of that meeting that Claire had with Lauren? What did you get out? What did you take away from that?
I just think they should not have Lauren coming back or Orion, both coming back trying to give advice to these people. Like they
Mhm.
didn't even put in the work. Lauren and Orion, I don't feel like they worked either towards their relationship. They got stuck on the racism thing. And to me, that was just the end of it. And so they didn't want to get past that. So they shouldn't be coming back contaminating anyone else's relationship at this point either.
I agree with you. I agree with you. But what do you think specifically about when Lauren asked Claire? She said, "Well, go ahead and give it your best try because what ifs are the worst." And I'm paraphrasing this, but she
Hmm.
did say what ifs are the worst. What did you think about that?
That's
Because that wasn't a bad piece of advice, was it?
No, it wasn't. And that is true. But they didn't try in their relationship either. So it's kind of like, well, why didn't you try that part of your relationship with Orion? It was like they were both they shut down. And so it
Mm,
is good advice. It is good. You don't want to be stuck with the what if I would have tried a little harder or what if I would have just ignored his little shorts, and tried to make the relationship work. Great advice. Yeah, but still coming from a bad source.
I agree. I agree.
Mhm.
And to be honest, I'm just really tired of seeing both of them, especially O'Lion.
Yes.
Not O'Lion. I mean Orion. I'm mispronouncing this man's name wrong. Not O'Lion. Orion. Yeah, that's what it is. Right. Sean, over to you. What did you think about the couples meeting up? Claire meeting up with Lauren and Cameron meeting up with Orion. What did you think?
And number two, I think it's
We didn't hear
production
your number
driven
one.
because
I
you can
don't
tell
know
the
if
same question that number
I,
one, it was the blind leading the blind.
okay.
Yes.
Can you hear me? Blind leading the blind. And then number two, it was production driven because you could see the same question that Orion was asking and feeling with Cam, the same questions and the conversation that Lauren had with uh, Claire. So I mean, it was an attempt to salvage what's left of the couples. I think it's a production attempt. That's what I
Well,
think.
yeah, but specifically, what did you think about the advice though? Let's just look at the advice for a moment. Did you think that was good advice that
I mean,
basically Lauren told us that
the
no?
advice was solid. Advice was
Okay.
the advice was solid, but whether it will be followed or not, I don't think so.
Mm-mm. Yeah. Yeah.
Solid advice, but I don't think it'll be followed. Yeah.
We see that in a little bit because basically you're right, they end up calling it quits, and which I think it makes sense to me. Now some people, who's at fault with this marriage falling apart? Is it Claire? Is it Orion? Because we're going to get to this at the end about the after party. What she said was said and what happened. I don't know if I believe either one of them about it. Also, I wanted to point out another piece, one last piece on this conversation. Orion basically told Cameron that self care and self advocacy was very important. And that little piece of advice, even though it's the bad source, I have to agree with. Self care
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
self advocacy in any relationship, having healthy boundaries is a good thing to have. But what Orion didn't say was that the fact that he is an unforgiving person. He's an unforgiving human being,
Right.
and that's not going to help matters at all. So we move forward from them. Okay, guys. So we see that Michael now is being set up and possibly going to be rematched with the experts. He's sitting down talking with them, and he seems very mature, which I think is a prerequisite for this show. And we're seeing throughout this season that a lot of our castmates on this show on Married at First Sight Denver are not mature. They also seem to lack having experience in relationships. I think should also be a necessity. People that say they've never been in love, people that say they've never been in a relationship, i.e., Emily, for example, that's a problem. That's a problem. But anyway, Michael is getting set up, and then he goes and tells his friends that at a looks like they're out, and he's telling his friends that he is going to be rematched. What are your thoughts about that, Kimberly?
I love it. I'm here for it. Bring him back. I didn't want to see him alone, but if they're going to find him another bride, yay, I'm ready. I'll be here glued to his segments to see what goes on. I also noticed in the after party, he cut his hair, and that was one of the things he said when he was picking out his tuxedo the first time around, that he would change himself for his wife. So that makes me wonder, did his new wife want him to cut his hair? Because we've been talking about that asymmetrical bob a lot.
Yeah,
And
yeah, I
his
didn't like that
earrings,
at all.
yeah, and his style. So I'm ready. And she seems to be older from what the commenters are saying. So I'm
Mhm.
hopeful, but she looks like a regular old girl. Like nothing, like a plain Jane, literally. So I can't wait to see how they connect.
Okay, okay. I love it. I love it. Sean, your thoughts too on Michael and being rematched. And let me just ask you, if you were brave enough to go on this show to look for a wife, and then the wife met you down at the altar and then said, "There's no go. It's off. The wedding is off." Do you think that you would be brave enough to do this again a second time on national TV?
You ain't gonna embarrass me twice. I mean, you're not gonna embarrass me twice. You will not. I would not be embarrassed twice.
Oh,
But I mean, it's what they have in store for him. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I know you're coming in. What, they're already 5 weeks into the experiment,
hmm.
and it's supposed to be 8 weeks. So hey, things are kind of rushed.
I want
So
you guys to note. And here's the thing that I want you. What I found figured out is that our week on TV is actually there are actually 3 episodes per week. So we're still, like they said, we're only into the 4th week. But I get what you're saying. By the time they marry, yeah, we'll be the 5th week. But this TV time and this real time do not coincide the exact same way.
in
That's
the
true.
real
'Cause
world,
What'd you say,
right.
Kimberly?
Yeah, because I take notes of what the dates are. And when we started the episode, it was day 24. And when we ended, they were celebrating 1 month. So that's a
Right.
whole week.
Yeah, yeah, they
that's on
they
six
they
days.
kind of
Yeah.
can mix and match it any way they want to fit their narrative. So we know that. Yeah.
Hmm.
But yeah, so Michael, I'm excited because you know what? They literally need it, and I think that's probably why they went ahead and went back because they could see that Claire and Cameron were gonna be out of here. So because we
That's a
can't
good
do it
point.
any less than 3 couples. This is ridiculous.
Right.
You're gonna be
Well,
down to just 2 couples. Hmm?
That's true.
yeah. Well, with their sister show, Married at First Sight Australia, in order to leave the show, both couples have to say disagree to agree to leave. If
Mm-hmm.
one
Hmm.
Of
says
course.
stay and the other one says leave, then they give an
Hmm.
opportunity to work on that for the whole week. But if the couples leave, then they bring in a replacement couple to replace the couple that left. So, of course, we don't have that long of a television programming for this for Married at First Sight here in the United States. But that's just a thought.
Yeah.
You know,
But so we move on to Emily and Ice Cold Brennan. Uh,
yeah.
Emily and Ice Cold Brennan. So we meet them at the beginning of the episode. They're talking about the touching exercises that were given to them by Dr. Pia to touch various parts of the body with as little clothing as they feel comfortable with. Now, this is what Ice Cold Brennan does. He turns around and turns it into, well, I think we should just hug more and that'll do. And Emily, being young, silly, and inexperienced in relationships, she's had nothing but one night stands. Which
Mm.
I don't know how any woman opens their mouth to say that on national TV. I just really don't. I think that was the most idiotic thing. But okay, knock yourself out. So she says, "Oh yeah, okay." And then Kimberly, what goes on from there? They proceed to give what kind of hug? Describe
A
their hug.
2 second hug, in my opinion. I wish they would at least gave it a little effort and did a minute. A minute is kind of long if you're just standing there, hugging a person. And I think more could happen within that minute, especially since they're fully clothed. I just don't think that they gave it any effort at all. It was like, okay, let me just mark this off so I can go back and tell her we did it.
And they
Mhm.
didn't even do what she asked them to do. So that's the funny part about it. I
Yes.
get I get the sense that Brennan is one of those kind of guys that doesn't do well with taking any kind of direction from women. I really do.
Mhm.
I get that
I agree.
impression.
Yeah.
So
He's very
he gives off
misogynistic. Very misogynistic.
that. Yeah,
Yes.
that's the other thing I feel. Correct, correct. Well, what did you think about the 3 second hug? What did you think about? I was surprised it wasn't even just a church hug. I was surprised that it was a
I've got a longer hug like than that at church. I mean, I've
Right.
got a longer.
Ooh, everybody needs to come to join your church because they giving them away. Okay.
I mean, and there was nothing lustful about it. I mean, but I mean, you can
Yeah,
tell
yeah, I get it. I get it.
he's really not into her.
He's
He's not into
not.
her.
He's not. But
He's just stringing it along, and okay,
he said, "I'm gonna make it to the end. I'm gonna be one of the
make it to
victors
the
to
end.
make it
Yeah,
to the end."
yeah.
Yeah.
And then she's making a pizza while they were talking. I thought that was nice to at least show that because we've seen Brennan. We have said one thing we can say about Brennan. We have seen him cook several times for her, bringing in food that he says that he's made, and she didn't
Hmm.
disagree with him. So we know that he cooks. So now she's actually making a homemade pizza. Um, what did you think about Kimberly about the horseback riding? They went horseback riding, and Brennan was given a horse named Gucci, which I thought was really interesting. A horse named Gucci. What did you think about the
Uh,
connection between Gucci and Ice Cold Brennan?
Now they had a connection. And it's like he was
oh yeah.
really all into the activity. She didn't seem as into it as Brennan did. Emily was like, okay, let's just, do it. I want to spend time with you or whatever. But he was really into the activity. It wasn't like he cared about her being there or not.
Mm-mm. Did
Yeah,
you
he just,
Did you see it at one point? Emily was behind both the guy
yes,
and her husband. I was like, "Oh my
yes,
gosh, what
he left
husband?
her.
Yeah, what husband that's a protector or leaves his wife behind? Anything could have happened. Her horse could have reared up his hind legs and threw her off. She could have been laying there, half
Mhm.
knocked out, unconscious, and he's ahead of her. He wasn't even watching her back. I was like, mm.
Yeah, and she seemed disgusted, like just the way her, I guess, personality and actions were. She took note of it.
She noticed it. She definitely did. I agree with you. What about you, Sean? What did you think of this horseback riding activity?
Um, it was very interesting activity to have them to do. Nothing to bring them closer, just something for them to do with one another. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
whose idea it was, but yeah, it was just a spaceful activity. Just like if you remember the honeymoon, how Lauren and Orion they were just doing activities just to be doing film time, So
Right.
I don't, yeah, it's very
I
interesting.
see.
But he got a lot of affection from the horse.
Yeah. And I wanted to say, I think that our guest out here in the chat makes really great points. Straight talk. I think you make really great points. I'm sorry, I'm taking because I'm trying to do two things at once. I agree with you because Straight Talk says even though I think Emily ran her mouth too much, Brennan is a cold-hearted jerk. Yes,
Mm.
I agree with you on that one. I don't know. It's like Emily did it this season, and also going back to earlier episodes, Lauren did it this season, just running their mouth talking up under their clothes, talking about their hot and heavy time that they were having right before they got married. And I don't think that any decent man, the kind of man that you would want to marry to be your husband, he don't want to hear about your past. He does not want to hear
Yeah.
about your past. If you was gonna be
Yes.
a 304 out in the streets, you need to keep that to yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You really do. But last but not least on this count, and then we'll do a little bit about the after party real quick. I'm not sure if Sean's still with us, but Kimberly, what
I'm
did you
here.
think about I'm sorry, my notes here, my gibberish that I wrote down. What did you think about Emily? Okay, finally we get to the scene at the toward the end of the episode where the couples all meet. So you've got Austin and Becca, you've got Claire and Cameron, and then you have uh Emily and cold-hearted Brennan. What did you think when Emily got upset about uh I'm sorry, guys. I'm having brain farts here. Brennan saying that he's taking it day by day because she got really upset with that. What did you make of that? And then she walked off to say that she was going to the bathroom and he asked, could he follow her? What did you make of that?
I love her response. No, you sit right there and by yourself. It's a mess. It shows that he's not putting in any effort. He is just not willing to answer questions because that wasn't the first question that he just kind of ignored and slid over. And I think that's why Emily was just getting so aggravated with him. And then I think before this setting, he had called her a red flag. Like, how do you recover?
Oh,
You don't. You do
thank
not
you.
recover from that.
Thank you. That's the part I left out. Let's go back to the red flag. He said that in the past he would have ran from a red flag, and that's when she said, "Oh, you're calling me a red flag?" And he kind of stumbled and stuttered a little bit, and then he said, "Yes, I am." And why do you
Sure
think
did.
he's calling her a red flag? Why do you think that is?
I think it's a lot of things. The relationship, because she's never been in a committed relationship, that's important.
Okay.
Because now it's kind of like a trial and everything error with Brennan, and then the part about her being, so loose with the one night stands, and then the drinking, drinking too much. All of those are red flags. He has a point.
He does. He does. He really does. And she doesn't see it. And that's the problem. That's where I think her lack of maturity comes into play.
Hmm.
And because didn't her friend tell us when we first met Becca at the beginning of the season that she's a selfish, self-centered type of person?
I believe so.
Yeah, yeah, she did. She did. Um, and to your point about the red flag and just her getting emotional and upset. So Claire went after her to talk to her. And what did you think? She's just cursing and she's got all this stuff to say. Why isn't she saying any of this to Brennan though?
She
I
might be
think she's
scared,
scared of
like
him.
Sean told
She's
us
scared of him.
the other week.
Say
Yeah,
again,
she's
and then
scared of
what?
him.
She's scared. Oh, you think she's scared of him?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if that's the case. You think she's afraid of him, or do you think at this point
Yes,
she's so busy being a pygmisha? You think she's actually physically afraid of him?
I believe
I mean,
Sean.
to
Sean,
me,
come
to
on.
me,
Okay,
to,
talk to us about it. Let's talk about it. Go ahead.
he's a personality of Ted Bundy. To me, he has
Mm.
a personality of Ted
Ooh,
Bundy.
yeah,
Those
that
no
is
Ted
kind
Bundy.
of
Wow.
Go back
scary.
and look. Um, I'm not saying he would go do that, but I think that's his kind of like personality. He's very honest. We're just gonna get day by day. This is what we're gonna do. But I think he softened it up about the red flag when I think one of the episodes said he was like, "You're just too positive of a person. I did not ask to be naturally a positive person." So what does he mean by being a positive person? I guess she's cheerfully
Mm,
bubbly. I guess cheerleader type, valley girl. I don't know.
yeah, because if
And
she says like
that's
one
not his
more time, we'll
personality.
all be
Oh yeah,
millionaires.
okay, yeah. So that could very well be one of his angst with her as well. So I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, okay. Well, did any of either of you see the after party with Keisha Knight Pulliam? Because Kimberly, I'm pretty sure you did. Do you
Yes.
recall what Claire had to say about what happened when she tried something out with her husband Cameron? Did you want to talk about that briefly, and then we're gonna sign off?
Yeah. So on the after party, Claire claims that she tried to initiate advances, from Cameron, and he rejected her several times. Now, not just once or twice, but he has rejected her multiple times and even had the nerve to say, "Ew." I don't believe it. I do not believe
Mm-hmm.
the EU part. Because how do you, you're laying in the bed with your partner or wherever you are, and then you start rubbing up on them, whatever, and they say, "Ew." I do not believe her, but that's what she said.
Yeah, that is. That's exactly what she said. And we don't know to believe her or not because I'm not sure what happened. I'm not
Yeah.
sure. But the general sense that I get, and guys, this is only my opinion. Who's lying, Claire or Cameron? I think both of them have lied about various things. I think that
Hmm.
lied about his father. He didn't give full disclosure, so that's lying by omission. I think that he says that his father could develop a heart condition as soon as his mom and his dad got a divorce, but that's over
Mm-hmm.
20 years ago. So, like, really, dude? And then now, did anybody notice that at the end that Cameron was saying that now he's or it looks like it's coming up in the next episode that he says he's developing a heart condition all of a sudden? What in the world?
Yeah, that's what made me say, "Uh-oh, is he lying?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't see anything good for Cameron, but I really would like them to disclose because I go over to Henry's page. If anybody, you guys remember the New Orleans Married at First Sight New Orleans edition, where there was a guy named Henry, and I forget the lady that he was paired with, who was a flight attendant. I think that Henry was also neurodivergent. I think that he had autism, and he never talks about it, but I noticed that the comments that he's been making over on the Married at First Sight Lifetime page over on Instagram, I'm very concerned that it's nothing wrong because I myself am neurodivergent, which I have ADHD, right? So that's a form of neurodivergent. And only thing what it means is that I process information differently than someone who is neurotypical, right? So it's not a thing that you can't work with, but it is a condition that, one, you need to be aware of if you have it, if your children have it, and that there's going to possibly be some different type of learning or some processing and some differences in how we communicate. So I'm a little ashamed of this show that they would put someone on and they done all these testing, because I think there's no way that the producers could not know that this man probably has autism and the way that he interacts or a lack of interaction. Oh, one last thing about Cameron. Did you guys see the older man that he claimed that he had been bike riding with and that was his friend? Did anybody see that on this episode?
Mm-hmm.
I barely saw it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, but I think that, and my point to bringing that up is only this. I think that the producers stuck that in because if you've been paying attention this season, we don't know anything about Cam except what he's told us. We have not seen any family members. Of course, they're supposed to be over in New Zealand. We've not seen any real friends. I think we met one or two people, and they didn't even seem like they really knew him that well. So I think that kind of goes to what I'm talking about with him being neurodivergent. He has difficulty making and keeping friendships, and that's a problem. And does anybody remember when he said that he typically will have a girlfriend for a year and then he
Mm-hmm. And
gets
then
rid of the
decompress.
girlfriend? He
Yeah,
decompresses. Yeah,
decompress.
that's the word he uses. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that again, it leans me toward, and I may be incorrect about this. This is just my opinion. I'm not a doctor, but I know a lot about being neurodivergent because I am neurodivergent. And he shows a lot of the classic signs of having autism, in my opinion. So I think that this was a match that was never really going to work because Claire is always in her head trying to play therapist with him, and nobody wants a person to play. Thank you, Ellen. Thank you so much. No one wants anybody in a relationship to be always nitpicking and trying to pull them apart and dissect them as if you're laying on their couch, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would be an issue. But tell us what you got going on. Tell the people how to find you, Kimberly, and what you got going on over on your channel.
Oh, yes. Please find me here on YouTube. I am Kimberly Reviews, and I enjoy watching the show live every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And I also post my travels whenever I am venturing out. So I try to give you all a virtual vacation. So come on over, subscribe, leave a comment so I know you're there. I really appreciate your support.
Amen. Amen. And Sean, tell the people how they can reach you over on IG.
Yes, you can reach me on IG at SANDRES1906. I look forward to hearing from you. Also, you can reach me at Facebook at my first and last name, SHAUN, last name STOKES. I would like to converse with you. Thank you.
All right, guys. Well, we're going good. We made it under the hour mark. I am so thankful to you because coming up next at 6:30, guys, we'll be back. At least I'll be back, and Sean will be back. Kimberly may be in the chat if she's got a little bit of
Yes.
extra time, but we'll be back. A different panel with "Ready to Love, Make a Move" at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please join us then. If you're watching, if you've been watching that, we're doing a reunion recap, and we may have a special guest. So please join us then, guys. I appreciate you. I love you. And happy, happy New Year. May we all have a wonderful, prosperous, creative, and renewed new year. Okay?
Thank you.
Yes.
Have a
Amen.
great one.
All
Peace
right.
and
Bye
blessings.
now.
Later.